Welcome to this edition of Stock Market Pulse. My name is Eric, and today is November 5th, 2015. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more trading videos and strategies. And today we're going to be looking at AMBA. It's had a couple of interesting moves recently and some other sort of changes in the trend that had me looking at a long trade in the stock. So first of all, I kind of zoomed out a little bit. I just want to note that I am looking at a 4-hour chart. Which is one of my favorite time frames right now. Kind of reduces some of the noise, but it's a little bit intraday. There's actually two bars per day. I don't look at the after hours session, but basically 2 candlesticks per day. And you can see I have my indicators on here. But so real quick, AMBA's been in this obvious downtrend for a couple months. And I want to sort of notice some changes here that's happened. I like the DMI Oscillator to help me identify, potential changes in trend or the battle of the bulls and bears, if you will. And so you can see a few weeks ago, the stock was finally able to get the oscillator back above zero, indicating that there was some buying pressure here. And you can see that on the chart. It actually got back up, got to the upper part of the average true range bands I have on here. And so at this point, this becomes resistance, right? So we talked about resistance and price, but I like to look at resistance with the oscillator. So, it came back in, ugly sell candle, sort of gathered itself back up, got back up a little bit farther, got back above the 13 EMA here. But again, the oscillator came to about the same spot. So resistance sort of kicked in again. We got another sell session, got up to resistance again on the oscillator, and then kind of came back in. But in the past few days, AMBA was able to break the resistance on the oscillator. And you can also see that this sort of makes it kind of like a break in the downtrend as well. If you kind of draw this in, something to this effect, you can see we finally got a break of the downtrend. So that sort of perks my ears up. And now I'm basically looking to buy dips on AMBA with relatively tight stops, because you never know, this thing could actually come back down here and retest the lows, and maybe I can buy in. But right now, the 4-hour chart on the DMI Stochastic Extreme, that's my sort of trigger indicator, we're getting oversold. And at this point, the next tick up in there, which could be this afternoon, I doubt it, but if the stock were to sort of pop up and we get a rally into the close, this thing could tick up, because there's 2 bars today, and this is the first bar. I'm doing this video just before the lunch hour, so this is the first bar of today, of Thursday, and we'll get a second bar in the afternoon. So if it doesn't tick back up, let's say we just sort of trade sideways here, or maybe the selling gets worse, I just simply wait a few more bars, which could mean tomorrow or maybe next week, basically for the entry. So what I'm looking to do is get into some AMBA calls whenever that happens. And as of right now, you can see these aren't the most liquid options. We do have, some open interest here. I typically like to go with a Delta 70 option. And, at that point with this stock, it's probably not the best. I'm looking at December. I might be better off with an at the money option and just maybe do a little bit less contracts, because the farther, at the money or out of the money you go, the riskier percentage-wise the trade becomes. So hopefully that makes sense. But basically, if I decide to go with the 55 calls, these are all out of the money, and I'm probably going to want to trade half as many contracts as I would if I was doing the Delta 75 calls. That way I keep my actual dollar risk amount relatively the same. So I'd be looking at, maybe the 55 calls, AMBA December 55 calls on the next trigger. But again, I'm kind of just waiting for this to happen, and we'll see how the afternoon goes. So again, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys at the next update. Thanks.